Hey everyone, so a little bit of a different angle today, but I'm just going to show you some tips when changing strings. I'm going to show you on an acoustic and on an electric. I'm going to show you some little devices that I use that could probably save you some time and help you out as well. Let's check it out. Okay, so we've got here an acoustic. This is my acoustic. We've had it, I wonder if we've got the year. It's about, it's almost 10 years old. It's stunning. It's made in Australia. It's actually made in the same suburb that I grew up. It's a Maiden guitar. There's a microphone pickup on the inside. I'll have to do a proper review of this. I've never done that before. And pickup there and everything. Now, with the guitar, it's going to be a little bit dirty, and the strings, they're probably going to be a little bit old. But if you've got the right tools, you'll be fine. So first thing you want to do is you want to detune these tuners here. Now, you could certainly do them by hand. That would definitely be one way to do them. Or, this is a helpful device that I have, is if you've got this little string winder, then you can just put the string winder on, and then you can just do that, and it's so much easier, and it will, within moments, that one's already done. Let's do the next one. Done. Nice and simple. So that's one tool that I definitely suggest. The other cool thing about this is built inside, it has string cutters. So the little end piece there, you can actually put in the strings and cut them off. Something else highly recommend you having is a rag, an old cloth, cut up an old t-shirt, that'll do as well, a string or a headstock holder, that's a really good idea, and just some new strings. So these are the strings that I use on my acoustic. Normally I use the ones that have NYXL steel, but these were the only ones I could find, but that's the gauge that I used on my acoustic. Been a big fan for many, many, many years. But that's it. So let's go through, let's unwind and detune all of the strings. Let's do that first. Something I didn't mention before is what I'm actually using this bench. It's an ironing board, so good. You can walk around the outside. If you're traveling, you can get them from hotels. So good, it's free. You've probably already got one around. Guitar bench, ironing board, so good. So once that's done, all the strings are sounding terrible and really, really loose. Highly recommend what you do then is you can do one of two things. You can either unwind it up here with the headstock. You can go and you can unwind it up there, or you can cut them. Completely up to you. Because let's say that maybe we put on a new string but it breaks or something like that, it's always a good idea to try and unwind them. So let's do that. Higgledy-piggledy, they're a little bit everywhere. That's fine. Once we take them out, we're going to wrap them up so you can keep them for later, just in case you have a string breakage. Now, we'll get a bit of a close-up and we'll talk about cleaning the fretboard because it's pretty disgusting and gross. But first, this is where the rag comes in. Okay, so you've got your rag. Now, strings are held in here by little pins. I'll show you a picture on the screen now. And the string is sort of put in and you'll see how you do that. But in order to get them out, you have to actually put your hand in and push them up, or you can get pliers and pull them up, but you can sometimes risk damaging the wood. So I like to sort of put my hand in and push up. But they can be very, very, very tough, especially if you haven't changed strings for a little while. So that's what you use the rag for. So put your finger in and you push up. That was nice and easy, and this is what they look like. And the string sort of slots in and then you push it in and it gets, the tension holds it in place. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and ooh, the last one's a little tough, and 6. Now, if they were really tough to pull out, you put your hand in with a cloth and push from underneath. That way you're not gonna, cut yourself or anything like that, just in case. Okay, so you've got your strings, so you've taken all the bridge pins out. So what I would suggest you do with each of them is take the string, wind it up on itself, it'll want to go one direction, and then just fit it in so it's locked amongst itself. Don't tie a knot or anything like that because you might need to use the string later, but at least then it will sort of hold itself and you can put it to a side. They might think, oh well, all the work's done. No, 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 no. This is certainly quite a dirty guitar. So what we need to do is get a little bit of a rag, and all you need, definitely not lemon oil or something that's going to be acidic and crack the wood, just a little bit of water. That's all you need. You'd be really surprised. Then we've got the fretboard, just a little bit of water on this cloth, just a damp cloth, and we're just giving it a little bit of a rub. Giving it a little bit of elbow grease, pushing down a little bit, grabbing the guitar, and we'll see how much dirt we can get off at the end. Okay, so you've done the hard work. You've taken the old strings out, you've given it a little bit of a wipe with a very, very tiny damp cloth, just a little bit of water just to pull up some of the dirt and the grease. Hopefully you're able to see some of the dirt that was just on this guitar from just a little bit of playing. Once you've done that, grab your new strings. Now most strings will be color coded. So as you can see from the back, I know it may be a little bit tricky, but each string has a different color. So the thinnest string is silver, then purple, green, black, red, and brass. And trust me, I'm sure everybody's done it. You just forget the colors, or maybe you're restringing while you've got something on your, on the TV or something like that, and then you just forget. So when you have a look here, I've got all the different colors on the different strings, so you can easily just set them up. You've got the two thinnest strings there, and then you've got the other strings there. Now, I'm going to skip through a little bit of this because it does take a little while, but what I would suggest is do some of the thickest and then the thinnest and then the middle strings, just for ease of tension. So we've got our two thickest strings. We've got brass, which is the 6th string, and then red, so you put them in. Going to keep them up this angle, just so that they're resting there. Get 2 of the bridge pins from before, put them in. Great. Now, you don't actually have to force them in too much because it's the tension pulling on the string that will actually pull them in the other way. So once you are sort of tightening it up this end, you may have to push them back down a little bit if they rise, but normally it's not too much of an issue. Okay, let's have a closer view. So having a look here, you've got your strings. So we've got the 6th string, and it's going to go to that head. Now what I do, and this is just me, but if you've got another idea, definitely tell me. What I do is I measure about that much. So what could that be? From about the post to my finger, you could say that's about, what, 2.5 inches thereabouts. I cut it there, so then it's easier to work with. Let's do that. And once you've cut it, you're going to line it up with the post, and you're going to put it through the hole, and then you're up to the next stage. So put it through the hole, and you're just going to leave a tiny bit out, just so you've got a little bit sticking out there. That's right. And once you've got the string through, you just start winding, but I would suggest putting your first finger, holding it down just after the nut, and then what that will mean is the tension will work out, and it will start to wind around underneath, and it will make this nice little neat coil that I'll show you a close-up of. And if you leave too much, if this much is a little bit too much, you can take it down to that much. But the point is just leave a tiny bit. And then as you can see, it'll be winding its way around itself. And I'll show you a nice close-up of that. So as you can see there, it's got a nice coil happening. And it's wound itself around itself. And the only way that it does that, nice and neat, is just when I put my finger down and hold it down. So as you're sort of twisting this with the string winder, you're also keeping your finger there so it's held nice and tight, and that's what causes it to wrap around itself. Continuing the process, we've cut a little bit off the next 2 strings, and what you're going to do is you're going to thread them through the post. Once they're threaded through the post, you're going to put your finger down there, and that's going to mean the angle is going to make it nice and tight, and making sure you've cut off that little bit as well. So you really should just have about that much sort of hanging off the end of the post. And you should also be going around this way around that side and around the other way. And let's do that. Cutting a little tips off the ends if you've got a bit too much, bending them on the inside just so that they don't cut anyone and so they don't maybe rip a hole in your gig bag, that sort of thing. Now don't worry, I know that definitely took a little bit of a while, but it was just to show you all the little things that I do when I'm changing strings. Do you have other tips? Have you seen this before? Have you changed strings before? I've known of musicians that have played for decades and they've never actually changed them themselves. They're always too worried about breaking something, so they take it to a shop, so they've paid so much money for years. You can definitely do this. So we've done the majority of the work. We've taken the old strings off, we've wrapped them around just in case some break at some particular time. We've given it a little bit of a clean just with an old rag and some water. We've had the old rag just in case we needed to push the bridge pins up. We've been careful with the microphone. We've cleaned up the headstock. We've made sure that all and absolutely every single one of the strings is threaded through really nicely. We've cut off any excess that we've got there, so everything's just nice and clean, and we're all ready to go. So the next thing is that as you're tuning, now I should say, I forgot to say this before, so I do apologize. As you're sort of tuning, have a little headstock tuner on, something that's gonna light up and tell you the different names, of the strings, or have your iPhone handy or your Android handy with the guitar app Guitar Tuner, spelled T-U-N-A, something like that you can tune so that you don't wind too much. Because if you have a listen to the strings, sound terrible and there's a lot of slack because I haven't actually tuned it yet. All I've done is just make sure that the strings are on nice and tightly and everything's clean, and now we tune it up. So once you've done that, you've made sure that each of the strings is in tune, or pretty much in tune, that's fine. What you want to do is you want to come up to the 12th fret and you want to actually pull the string away from the neck, just like that. So you want to pull it up. Now don't worry if you don't feel comfortable pulling the string up like that, which is absolutely fine. You can just bend the string. It doesn't even matter if you're actually putting the note down, just bend it until you get to the 3rd string. So bend the 1st string till you can touch the 3rd string. Hold for a few seconds, let go, do it again, let go, do it again, and then it's full in tune. So then you would tune up. So that's what you would do on each string. So once you've done the 1st string, you would do the 2nd, bend up, don't go too crazy, but just bend, hold, bend, hold, bend, hold, retune, do all of the strings. Once you've got that, retune again, and then it should be fine to play with. And now I would still play a few sort of chords, check the tuning, do a couple bends, check the tuning. I would really, if you want to make sure that you're going to be recording or you're going to be practicing or you're going to be playing this guitar a lot, I'd do this whole thing of tuning, stretching in one string, doing the next string. I would do that 3 times just to make sure. So let's do that. Okay, so we are back. So what we did is we stretched each string 3 times, did all of that, then tuned it all up, then did it again, then did it again, just to make sure that, oh, it's nicely in tune. It's so good. So I know it's really hard with the YouTube compression and where the mic is, you know, you're being picked up, the guitar's being picked up from this mic right here and from a little mic on my 2nd camera. So I know it's not the best sound, but how I can describe it to you is it's like if you're talking like this and then you're talking like this with something in front of you. People can still hear you, but they're losing a lot of the top end, so a lot of brighter tones, and it's not quite sort of cutting through the mix, and it's quite a dull sound. It may not be a lot of a difference because you've got this right here, but that's what, if you do that at home, that could be a little bit of the difference. You're just losing a lot of the high end, and they just feel, they feel really nice. A lot of people say to me, oh, I want a new guitar, I want a new this, I want a new that. And all I say is, when was the last time you restrung your guitar? Or when was the last time you had your guitar serviced? Because really, if you have a professional instrument, you should get it serviced every year, every 2 years, something like that. But if you've never gotten your guitar serviced and it's a good guitar, definitely get it serviced. You'd be surprised. Over the years, it's just like a car. There'll be little things that sort of aren't working the way that they should be, and you don't sort of notice because it's such a slow decline, but then when it gets a good service, you think, wow, it's like a new guitar or it's like a new car again. Same thing, definitely get it tuned. So it just sounds really, really nice, really clear and rich. So nice. Such a lovely sound. Sorry, I just completely lost tangent there. I was just really enjoying the nice strings, and that's what will happen if you change your strings as well. Now, if you're scared, if you're still a little bit cautious and you don't want to break your instrument, or you think that somehow you will do that, don't be scared. That's absolutely fine. What I would recommend to you is go into your local music shop, say, hey, who is the guitar tech? Who fixes guitars? Can I buy you some beers? Or you don't drink beers. Can I buy you some ginger ale or something? Can I buy you something, some coffees, and can you show me how to restring? And you'd be surprised. Sometimes, you know, I think a lot of people really want to help other people and they want to teach other people. So you would be surprised that if you just say, hey, I want to give you this, could you please teach me? You'd be surprised. A lot of people will just do it for free, but you never know without asking. So hopefully you got something out of this video. Sorry for my long playing and rant at the end. I've been Pat from Pat Dave Music. I'll see you all again. Bye.